The end of Q1 of 2026 is just around the corner, and we have had quite the ride in the market over the past 3 months. The S&P is down quite a bit. The Dow is down quite a bit. Some of our favorite stocks are down 20, 30, 40, even 50%. There's been a lot of bad news. There's been a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the markets. Many of us started 2026 on an optimistic tone, but things are looking pretty bleak in the markets. As a matter of fact, if at the start of the year you bought the S&P 500 and you invested $100,000, you would have bought VU at $631 per share. Those are currently going for $583 per share. So our 158.5 shares of VU of the S&P 500 would now be worth $92,000. That's a $7,600 loss, or our money's gone down 7.6% in just 3 months. Now, at the start of the year, we made some predictions. We picked about 8 different companies that we thought would have a fantastic 2026. And we can see those companies here. We see Amazon, Meta, MU, NVDA, CDE, Johnson & Johnson, AOS Smith, and Excelixis. So full disclosure, we did not necessarily buy any of these companies or even in the weights that we're going to talk about. We just wanted to simply show how the inner flame finance methodology works and let this experiment run for the full year to see how we do compared to the market. So before we get into the Q1 2026 performance updates, what we're going to do is we're going to look at what improvements did we recently make to our valuation and scoring methodology. So there's some big changes, and I think they're all for the better. And this is the safety metrics and scoring that we will use from now on. And then we're going to dig into those 8 different companies, and we're going to look at the Q1 performance based on market cap. We're going to look at those 8 companies based on if we had invested equal weight, and then we're going to look at those companies based on the Inner Flame Finance weights. Okay, so this last one here is going to be what we at Inner Flame Finance do every single week when we invest into the market. Again, not necessarily into these 8 different companies, but how we approach investing our capital, our hard-earned money into the markets. So first we have the Mag 7 stocks. We recently did a video on this. I will put a card and a link in the description below. And that was the first video that we really looked at the new safety metrics. And so the first thing that we're going to look at is the price to earnings ratio. Remember, the lower that this number is, the better. Since these are 7 relatively similar companies, they're all in the tech and communication services space, then it would be a fair comparison to not only look at the PE ratios themselves, but to look at them compared to one another. And we see that Meta and Microsoft both have the lowest PE ratios. Now, it is also important to compare that to the 5-year historical average of those different companies. And so, again, you want lower the better. We have the 5-year PE ratios for each company averaged out across that time. And we see that there are some companies that are in the green. So, for instance, currently, Microsoft has a 22.3 PE. It's trading cheaper than it has historically because in the past 5 years, Microsoft has traded at a 34 multiple of earnings. And so that's why that is highlighted green. However, Apple, Google, and Tesla, they are in the red because they are historically been cheaper than they are currently trading for right now. So, for example, Google is trading for 25.4. Historically, it trades for 24. So that means that Google is trading more expensive right now than it has in the past. Next up, we look to price to sales. Now, price to sales is not usually as widely used as price to earnings ratios, but it is something that we want to consider for safety. So we want to make sure that these companies are cheap relative to the revenue that they bring in or their sales. And so we see Amazon and Meta have the best price to sales ratios of these 7 companies. Next up is something that we've already featured on this channel quite a bit. We talk about it a lot. We want low debt to equity. Debt to equity has been part of our valuation metrics since we started several years ago, because debt to equity basically means, do they have a lot of debt relative to their equity in their company? And again, the lower the better for debt to equity. So NVIDIA and Google have the best debt to equity of the Mag 7. Interest coverage is another very important metric when it comes to safety metrics. We want to make sure that companies can pay off their debts, that they can pay off their interest. And so this is basically just a measure of how many times over can this company pay off its debts and pay off its interests, okay? So, for example, you want higher the better. So NVIDIA is at a 503.4. That means that NVIDIA can pay off their interest, debts, and obligations 503 times over. So they have a lot of cash. They have a lot of ability to leverage that equity and capital that they have into their companies and pay off their interests and their debts. Now, free cash flow yield, this is something also you want higher the better. We typically aim for 7% or higher on this channel, but when it comes to high growth companies, when it comes to companies that are growing, and a lot of these companies are investing into CapEx, their free cash flow yield kind of goes down a little bit. So we see Apple and Meta have the best free cash flow yield here. Next up is dividend yield. This is something that's always been featured and important in our analysis of safety stocks. Dividend yield is you want to make sure you get money back from your investments if you're interested in dividends. And so, for example, Microsoft is trading with a 1.0 dividend yield. What that means is if you invested $100 into Microsoft, you would get 1% back over the course of the year. So you get $1 back. If you invested $1,000 into Microsoft, you would get $10 back. Most companies pay dividends spaced out over quarters, and so you would not get all $10 all at once. You would get $2.50 four times a year. That would add up to about $10 over the course of that year. The next thing on our radar is years of dividend growth. As investors, if we are interested in dividends, we not just want those dividends to come in, but we want them to grow over time so that we can keep up with the pace of inflation. And so it's very important that we have dividend growth, consecutive years of dividend growth. So that's another very important metric in our safety metrics. Now, payout ratio, also very important. You don't want this to be super low, but you also don't want this to be super high. The payout ratio is basically how much of available cash that they could pay for dividends do they actually pay for dividends. If it's too low, then that means that, well, they could be giving you more dividends. And sometimes you want a low payout ratio because you'd rather that company invest into their company. So for example, NVIDIA's payout ratio is not even 1%, it's 0.8%. And that's okay because we want NVIDIA to take their money, to take their profits and their earnings and pump it back into the company so that the company grows, the share price grows, the market cap grows, and NVIDIA becomes and remains the dominant player in the chip space, right? So we don't want NVIDIA to pay a huge payout ratio, at least not yet. But sometimes for mature companies, you do want a lot of that profit. You do want a taste of that profit. So you usually want the payout ratio to be in the 20s or 30s or 40s or even 50s and 60s, just depending on the company, its maturity, and how stable that cash flow is into that company. And so payout ratios are important. We want them to be low, but we don't want them to be too low. We don't want them to be too high because when a payout ratio starts to get to be 80 or 90 or even 100%, what that means is they're putting all their money into paying the shareholders the dividends, and they can't put that money back into the business. So there's usually a sweet spot for the payout ratio. It depends on the sector and it depends on the company. Beta is also very important to us. We want this to be less than 1 when it comes to safety. And beta just means if the stock market goes up, how much is this company going to change? And so Amazon, for example, has a beta of 1.4. And so this means if the market were to go up 1%, Amazon would go up 1.4%. On the flip side, if the market goes down 1%, then Amazon would go down 1.4%. And so as safety investors, if we wanted to bake in safety into these companies, we want to make sure that if the market crashes, our stocks don't crash even more than that. And so, for example, NVIDIA has a beta of 2.4. And so that means if we see a correction in the market and we see the market go down 10%, NVIDIA is going to go down 2.4 times that. And so if the market goes down 10%, NVIDIA is going to go down 24%. So it would lose almost a quarter of its value in our portfolios if the market just sees a 10% correction. And so finally, what we look at in the safety metrics is return on assets. And what we're doing there is we're taking their net income and we're dividing it by the total assets of the company to make sure that they are using that money effectively relative to how much assets they have. If we had invested $100,000 into the market at the start of 2026, we would be down 7.6%. What about the Interflame Finance picks? What about these 8 different companies based on different investment strategies? So in the description, I will link that video that we made at the start of the year so you can see the picks that we made and the rationale for why we made them. So first up, we're going to look at what if we had invested based on market cap. This is kind of how the S&P 500 usually works. The bigger the company, the more of your money that it gets when you invest into the broad market. It's based on market cap. It's based on the size of the company. And so first off, Amazon had a market cap of $2.47 trillion at the start of 2026. That means that it would get 25.8% of our money. So of our $100,000, we would put $25,770 into it. That means that with Amazon, we would have purchased 111.56 shares. And so now, unfortunately, that 25,770 is now 22,000 and change. That means that we've lost about $3,500. That is a 13.7 loss just in Amazon alone. Meta had a market cap of $1.67 trillion at the start of 2026. That means that based on market cap, it would have gotten 17.4% of our money. We would have invested 17,423. That means that we would have purchased a little over 26 shares of Meta at the start of this year. And now, unfortunately, it's worth about $13.8 thousand. And so that is a $3,600 loss. Meta has gone down 20.7% since the start of this year. Now, Micron Technologies, is one of our success stories. We would have invested, based on market cap, $3,370. We would have purchased just under 12 shares of this company. It would be worth over $4,000 now. That's an $800 plus profit. So we would have gone up 24% in the first quarter. Now, NVDA has also seen some losses this year, about 10.9% loss. Based on market cap, NVIDIA alone would have gotten almost half of the money, okay, 47.9%. That means 47,000, almost $48,000 would have gone into NVIDIA at the start of the year. In this hypothetical situation, we would have purchased about 555 shares of NVIDIA, and now it's worth about 42,600. That is a loss of $5,000. CDE is Core Mining. This is a gold and precious metal mining company. Now, based on market cap, it is super tiny, just $11.7 billion market cap. That means it would have only gotten $122 of our $100,000. Now, that's okay because it's gone down 4.8%, but our 6.78 shares that we bought at 122 would only be worth 116 right now. Johnson & Johnson was another pick. This was a safety pick. This was to make sure that we got some dividends and some cash flow. The market cap would have only put us at 5.2% of our investment, so we would have invested a little over $5,000 into this company. We would have purchased 25 shares of Johnson & Johnson, and those shares would now be worth a little over $6,000. That's an $841 profit, so a 16.2% increase. Next up is A.O. Smith, another safety play. This also had a very small market cap at 0.1%. It would have only gotten $98 based on market cap. That means that we would have purchased about a share and a half of this company. Now, this was a safety play, and this was anticipating some sort of improvement in the housing market, but with interest rates probably going up within this year, not going down. It looks like the housing market is once again in very bad situation, very bad shape. And so we've only seen about a 4% drop in this company, but probably more if interest rates start to creep up. AOS Smith, they make water heaters and water boilers. And so this is very important when buying and selling houses. With a strong housing market, we would probably see strength in this company. And finally, EXEL, also a very small position. We would have purchased only $123 of this company, now worth $116. But this is a biotech company that we were very bullish on last year. We would have purchased about 2.8 shares of this company, and those are down 5.6%. So we can really see the pros and cons of doing a market cap based investment strategy. We see that if the big companies go up, well, then our portfolio goes up. If the big companies go down, well, then that really hurts our portfolio. And so what if we just bought equal weights of these companies? So what if we put $12,500 into each company? Amazon, we would have bought for $231. And our 54 shares of that company would now be worth $10,787, so a 13.7% drop in that company. Meta, we would have also put $12,500. Those would now be worth just under $10,000. MU, our $12,500 would now actually be worth $15,500. So that's a nice increase in Micron Technology. NVIDIA would be down also 11%, but 11% not of the almost $48,000 from the market cap based strategy, but instead just 12,000. So that loss of 11% would bring this 12,500 down to 11,000 and some change. Core mining, this would have gotten a significant portion of our money relative to what we had before. If you look before with the market cap based strategy, core mining only got $122, and now it's getting much, much more than that. It's getting 12,500. And so in this investment strategy, yeah, we're down 4.8%, but relative to the 20.7% loss that Meta got, that's not looking too bad. If Johnson & Johnson had gotten $12,500 at the start of the quarter, that would have gone up to 14,500 and some change. And so that 16% increase would really help the equal weight investment strategy. A.O. Smith at 12,500, basically the same, just a little over $12,000 with that 3.9% drop in its stock price in this first quarter. And Excelixis, also 12,500 would be 11,798. And so that 5.6% drop would result in a $700 decrease in that position. So overall, the equal weight is doing better than the market cap. So equal weight strategy down 2.4%, but the market cap strategy down 10.7%. And we see that the market cap strategy is actually severely underperforming just in this first quarter, the overall market. So far, it would have been best to do an equal weight investment strategy into these 8 companies. Second best would be just the broad market, the entire S&P 500. And last place would be these 8 companies based on their market cap. But we at Interflame Finance don't do equal weight, and we don't do based on market cap. We always do it based on our scores, our methodology, and our intrinsic values. I'd like to point out right now that But so far, if you're getting anything out of this video, please like, that really helps out the channel. But if you'd like, please consider subscribing to this channel if you not have done so already. What we do every single video is we look at companies, we score them with our own special scoring system that we kind of got a glimpse of earlier in this video with safety scores. We compute intrinsic values, which, by the way, if you want to learn how to compute intrinsic values of companies to figure out what they're actually worth and not what they're trading for, there are 4 links in the description of this video. You can go check those out. But we always base our investment and our capital allocation based on the inner flame finance methodology. And so had we done that for Amazon, we would have put only 5% of our money into Amazon. That would be $5,000 of the hypothetical $100,000 at the start of the year. And that 13% drop stings a lot less than had we put something like 25,000 based on market cap. So at the start of the year, Meta would have only gotten 3% of the $100,000. And so it would have only gotten $3,000. And that really softens the blow of this 21% drop in its stock price in these past 3 months. And so that $3,000, yes, it sucks that it went down 20%, but it's only down to 2,379. So that hurts a lot less because we've allocated our capital into potentially more attractive buys at the start of the year. Which, speaking of more attractive buys, we put 14% of our hypothetical dollars into MU. So that's $14,000 invested into MU, and that would now be worth over $17,000. That 24% increase in Micron Technologies is really helping out our portfolio's performance. Now, based on market cap, NVIDIA got almost $48,000. Well, based on our inner flame finance scores and intrinsic values, that's considerably less. We are very big bulls on this channel for NVIDIA, but based on the year's numbers at the start of the year and based on everything that we saw, NVIDIA would only get $16,000. It's now worth over $14,000 had we done that. And so again, that 11% drop in NVIDIA does sting, but we're not putting almost half of our capital into it like we had done based on market cap. Core mining would have gotten $10,000. It's now worth $9,500 in this scenario. And so that 4.8% drop just results in $483 loss in that company. Johnson & Johnson. Now, so far, this is tied for first place of how much money it gets. And this was one of the big winners so far at 16.2% increase. So that $16,000 hypothetical investment would now be worth $18,586. But an even larger position based on strength in the housing market that we saw might be happening in 2026, and it's probably gonna not happen in 2026, but based on what we saw, A.O. Smith, 17% of our investment went into that company, and so down 3.9%, that does hurt. That will affect our overall returns because we put so much into this company, but we would have put the most into EXEL. We were bulls at the start of the year on this company because 2025 had such a great year. And based on the numbers, it looks like this company is going to have a fantastic 2026. Now, 19% of our capital went into this very small biotech company. And so that is over a $1,000 loss in our portfolio. However, when you look at all 8 of these companies based on the weights of the inner flame finance methodology, you will see that we are outperforming the market. We're outperforming these 8 companies when done on equal weights, and we are outperforming certainly based on market cap. And so had you invested in the broad market, the S&P 500, you'd be down 7.6%. However, these 8 companies, you would actually be up just 0.7%. So is that a lot? No, but you would be up overall in your portfolio almost $700 rather than being down almost $8,000. And so this is obviously not proof that the inner flame finance methodology is superior by any stretch of the imagination. It's only been 3 months. It's been a very rocky 3 months. There's been a lot of volatility in the market. And so this would be a good place to remind you that nothing that we say on this channel is financial advice. We are not telling you to buy, hold, or sell any of these companies or any other companies or index funds in your personal portfolio. You should always do your own research and always do your own due diligence before making any investment decision. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. What we're trying to do is show you what we do at Inner Flame Finance, how we approach investing, and how we approach allocating our capital into various companies. So be sure to check out the links in the description of this video. Please like this video if you got anything out of it. That would really help out the channel. And please consider subscribing to this channel so you can keep coming back for more updates on this portfolio, these stock picks, and then the other companies that we analyze, score, and evaluate every single video. Thanks for coming. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you in the next video.